Hello, how are you doing? It's a pleasure for me to be speaking here in front of you. And before we begin, I would really like to thank both Andrew and Jacqueline for inviting me and giving me a chance to be a part of this year's Bits of Security. Today we're going to be speaking about Datadog and Sherlock and how we use it to prevent and react and improve fraud detection in PedidosYa. The agenda we have for today is Who Am I? Because I guess if you're watching, you're wondering who's this guy with this strange accent and maybe where is he from. The problem we had at PedidosYa, which drove us to the creation of Sherlock, which is a solution for this problem. Then some use cases for Sherlock, and following a demonstration, because my idea is that after all of this presentation, you can replicate this for yourself or your company. And we are going to be finishing with a Q&A, so you ask all of your questions and I will answer. But do not hesitate to reach out afterwards through LinkedIn, Instagram, email, whatever you like to, if you have any more doubts or you want to share experiences. Who am I? My name is Santiago Rosenblatt and I'm a 24 years old Uruguayan who for some reason started hacking at a very young age when I was 6 or 7, give or take. Yeah, I know it's young, but I can say I do have friends. I do have friends, but for some reason I started when I was really young, started hacking video games such as Club Penguin or Have a Hotel, and basically I would hack. My game was to hack, so I was a really big fan of Lakers, and I didn't have enough money, but I knew how to hack, so I would hack the official streaming services for NBA, so NBA League Pass. And I would hack them to have the season subscription for free. They would patch my vulnerability, I would hack them, and that game kept going for years, I guess, until I understood the implications of my acts and the ethical side of it. Besides that, I'm getting this year my computer engineering degree after 5 years of intensive work and study, so I'm really proud and happy about that. And well, in terms of professionally speaking, I'm leading application security at PedidosYa, which is the food delivery leader in South America with more than 25 million users. And people say, and well, I guess that's true as well, that I'm a passionate entrepreneur. I love building and creating stuff. This year we are releasing on August Strike, which let's say it's we're releasing the Uber of cybersecurity in August already with the biggest companies in South America. So we're really proud of that achievement. Other than that, leaving aside the academic and professional aspect, I really like doing sports since I was little, playing music, reading, going out with my friends, and spending time with my family and traveling as well. That's about me, but let's get to what you care about, which is the problem we had. So at PedidosYa, as I told you, we are a really big company, and we have really a lot of valuable information, such as addresses, phone numbers, and we can predict at which address a person is going to be on Wednesday, for example. So there's a lot of attackers and bad people that wants to get access to this information. So we are targeted by a lot of people, and we suffer attacks. Well, yeah, attacks attempts, I would say, because our application it's up, but we suffer denial of service attempts, injection, and some other logic aspects. The thing is that we receive a lot of attacks, but we don't want to react only blocking IP address or just blocking IPs. The idea is that using that information, we want to be able to notify users, hey, let's say there was an account takeover attempt on your account, be aware of who you share your information to, or other thing could be, as a food delivery company, we give free vouchers to people so they can order food. If you register, you receive a $5 voucher, so you can order with a discount, or if you recommend people, you get as well vouchers. So as well, we have a lot of people with 250 fake accounts that they use to, well, I will show you later, I will explain later, but let's say they have a lot of accounts that they expect to receive vouchers, and they will use the vouchers to order food for free. So the idea is that instead of blocking the IP, we want to block the users so they can't have access to the account. But with the measures we had in place in terms of web application firewalls, because we have a lot of security in the applications itself, but as a firewall, which in our case we use Cloudflare, which we are really happy with it. But the thing is that it does not allow us to block a user or to notify user like due to an attack software to his account, we cannot notify it. So we wanted something more flexible, something that could take information out of the alert that was triggered, and then there are several things with the information depending on which alert was. So here you can see an account takeover attempt, and on this, let's do this. So here, what you have is that in less than 20 seconds, the same IP address wanted to have access to this account. This is an endpoint that just lets you get access to an account. And the idea is that instead of only blocking the IP, we would like to notify we switch. Account takeover attempt. So I was telling the idea that here for the account takeover attempt, we have a phone number and an endpoint that actually validates a phone number. So we want to be able to tell this user, hey, be aware of a person in this country trying to access your account, just to give you an idea. And we were not able to do it with Cloudflare because we would be able to just block the IP address. But the problem as well is that in South America, I don't know if it happens in your countries, at least some years ago in Chile, just to give you an idea, one IP address could have been assigned to thousands of users, 10,000 of users. So it wasn't a good return on investment to block 10,000 of users because one was acting in a bad manner, was attacking you. I mean, if you would go to the CTO and tell, hey, we have the best solution in place here, we are blocking the bad guys. Each time we receive an attack, we are blocking the IP. Cool. And how does it work? Well, when we receive an attack, we are blocking 10,000 of users. Probably that wouldn't make the CTO happy and the CEO as well. So we thought about other ideas. And another example would be the fraud badger, because as I told you before, we detected that we had people with 250 users, 300, and well, on average, the fraudulent users, they had between 15 and 30 accounts. So what we want to do is actually, instead of blocking this IP address, which would change every 12 hours, we wanted to block in the moment these users. Just go by the user ID and block them instead of blocking the IP address. So why was this happening? So this endpoint lets you know how many vouchers you have in an account. And what we detected is that there's a lot of people that were having fake accounts, and what they would do, they would have 30 accounts. So each day they would run a script chronologically that will tell them which accounts of all of those would have the voucher, right? So what they would do is to use one account to order the fries, one to order the drinks, and one to order the burger, and they would send all of the food to the same address. So of course, when you take this number and go to the back office, you will see that for sure it's fraud, because there were users that had ordered already 10 times, always using vouchers, and then you would see that the address was the same that in another 100 accounts, so it didn't make sense. But we wanted to block the users, not the IP address. But we were not able to do it with Datadog. So for the solution, what we created is something that works together with Datadog. Let's zoom up that and say that in Datadog we configure the rules, and then Datadog with the security monitoring understands when a rule is triggered, and when the rule is triggered, it notifies and sends information to Sherlock, and Sherlock acts upon that according to what we configure. So our solution comprises Sherlock's webhook service, Datadog's webhook integration, Datadog security rules, AWS DynamoDB, Cloudflare API, Slack channel plus webhook, Datadog security signals, and Datadog logs. A usual flow and a resume of that would be having your webhook, your Sherlock webhook deployed. Sherlock is actually a bunch of more services, such as it works to check secrets in code and other things. But in this case, let's say this is only the webhook. So you have the webhook in place, then you configure the webhooks in Datadog, so it can sends you the information when something happens. Then you configure a detection rule that will use this webhook when it's triggered, and when the alert is triggered, we will create add some information in AWS DynamoDB, and then we will create a simulate, challenge, or blocking rule in Cloudflare and get a notification in Slack. That would be the usual flow for Sherlock. As the webhook service, we base ourselves in this webhook from this guy, which I call it a plug and play webhook tool that we use. So kudos to this guy. And you just specify the URL path for the webhook. In our case, it's Datadog. Here we have, for example, a secret. Remember to use secrets, but remember as well to rotate them. And then you specify the response and the command you are going to be executing with the payload you receive. It could be Bash, Python. I wanted to use Go because I'm a big fan I'm a big lover of Go, so try to use Go in your programs. But it was not that easy, so I ended up going with Bash, which works pretty well anyway. So what we have is for Sherlock, we have three endpoints, which would be blocking IP, which actually is not blocking because it could be, depending on what you send. If you see here, the Sherlock mode, it could be simulate, challenge, or blocking. Then we have a ping echo webhook, because if you want to deploy this on Kubernetes, Docker, or anything, you need a health check. And then we have another one, which is this one, to clear all the Cloudflare rules. Because just in case, if it hasn't happened to us, actually, we have been really lucky, but it can happen something, and you would maybe like to deactivate all of the rules that Sherlock put in place. Because remember, this is something automated, and maybe automated things can go wrong. So you want to have an endpoint to deactivate all of the rules. Then what you can see here is Datadog webhooks integration. What you would be doing is all of these attributes, which actually are provided by Datadog, and each of them would give you something like the event message, the event title, and so it's valuable information that you probably would end up using. And then what we add is the Sherlock mode, which is something we need. In this case, it's simulate, but it could be, remember, challenge or block. And then here you have the webhook. So in this case, Sherlock.strike.sh, hooks, Datadog, and the token, which is the one that's going to be receiving the information when alert is triggered. Then you will proceed to creating a rule. In this case, you have the vouchers rule. So each time an IP executes requests that match this regular expression, so Datadog is going to be, of course, storing this information. And if an IP executes more than 10 attempts in 5 minutes to URLs matching this regular expression, it will notify using the webhook Sherlock inspector in simulate. So in this case, we will issue a simulate rule. And what it will do is store as well the IP address, the attack count for that IP address, the country, the first digit of attack, the reason, and the Sherlock mode. And apart from this information that you're seeing, we store last attack date and many other things that I didn't include here because the table was big enough to be able to fit it here. But why we use Dynamo, or more importantly, why we store the information, is because this helps you understand the way the behavior of attackers, and try to understand why they do what they are doing, what are the attacks that they are actually repeating more, or trying to basically what are the types or kind of attacks that you are getting in the latest times, so you can configure your systems to prevent and react in a better way to them. And then what you see here, it's for Cloudflare API. This is the way a rule that was put in place using Sherlock, how it looks. So basically, it's too many requests on wallet shout in this case, more than 30 attempts, and the date and time. And this tag, or this annotation, choose the way you want to call it, which says Sherlock, it's really important because it lets you easily identify which rules were created in an automated way using Sherlock. Because remember, if something goes wrong, you want to really fast be able to identify the problem, so you don't have downtime because of this, and you can deactivate it easily. Then, here you have an example of how a notification in our Slack channel looks. You have the Cloudflare added with the text similar to Cloudflare, the attacker's IP, the attacker's country, and the mode, which actually matches the color. Here is yellow, but it could be red if it's a block mode. And then, after receiving this alert, which you could use again Sherlock, but as well you could complement it, make it even better if you as well combine it. That's the right word. Combine it with for example, Opsgenie to get schedules for several people and get different types of notifications. Then you would come to Datadog security signals, have a look at the signal, and if you want to get more information, click here. Then you would be able to see a sample, and if you want to get more information, even more, you can click on your Log Explorer, and you will have a look at this view, which is similar to the one I showed you in the first place for vouchers which was the endpoint that you used to check for how many vouchers you have in an account. So after that, in our case, as the alert, the information is sent to Sherlock would be able to send it to the fraud team, so they block in automatically the fraudulent users. Or you can have a look here and go to the back office to see what these users are doing. This is what Sherlock is, and some use cases we have could be fraud detection, account takeover attempts, but could be any scenario in which you want to block by a user's attribute instead of an IP address. And more importantly, which is not here, is any scenario in which you want to use the information from the alert to notify users, to do something, to have statistics, just any information that you think is valuable extracting from URL, headers, or body. Let's do a demonstration, quick demo, so you can have a look at what this looks like in real time. Okay, so you should be seeing this, so that should be working right. So what we have here is the logs dashboard for Datadog, and what I will be doing is just to show you. Let's create one request. So we create one request, Santi strike PedidosYa, and this should be appearing here. If it works, that will be really good. Nothing, still nothing. Am I doing the things properly? I hope so. Let's see what's going on. Maybe if I go again. Let's see. I will give it another try. Maybe refreshing the page. So, okay, yeah, if I refresh, they're here. So these are the requests, and I'm not being blocked. Now what we're going to do is start configuring our rule. So for that, we're going to create this query, which will tell us only to look in this host, and for regular expressions, matching this URL path. So bits of security, the -user, question mark user ID and the user ID. So similar to the example I was showing you about vouchers. So once we have this, we are going to go to the top list view, and we're going to aggregate by client IP and by URL path. After we have this, which is matching, as we can see, this tells us the amount of URLs of matching this regular expression that one IP, in this case this IP, has accessed or has issued, like the amount of requests it has executed, maybe. Then after we had this, we are going to export this as a detection rule, and once we have exported this as a detection rule, we are going to set the rollup. In this case, I want to be really fast, so you can have a look, to 1 minute. Then I'm going to change the query name so it's clear, and I'm going to say if we receive in less than 1 minute more than 2 requests, we are going to trigger this rule. Say this is a hide, and we're going to block me. So I shouldn't be able, after it's triggered, to access PedidosYa. And let's say demo bits of security. Then we're going to be configuring a name, and name, and a message. Messages are really important. So whenever an alert is triggered, you know right in the moment what is expected to you, like for you to do. And let's say it's an attack. So that should be. I get that that's all, I believe. So let's save the rule. And okay, now the rule is configured. Let's go to signals. And what I'm going to do is, again, repeat the same process. I'm going to do strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. I will just do a bit more, just in case. And strike 6, 7, 8. I should be logged in some time. Let's see. Okay, that's 1. Cool. And if I go to samples, it's from this one is from now. So I should be receiving in Slack. I mean, I'm guessing this has to be your Sherlock. So I should be seeing in Slack. Okay, this is not the one because this is an old one for an hour ago, as well testing this demonstration. But we should be receiving a notification here in Slack in any moment, hopefully fast. Anyway, let's keep trying. Well, I mean, I have the rule should have already created. If I'm lucky. Yes, so it has been created. Let's see if it has appeared in Slack. And it has not yet, for some reason. But it should. I'm wondering what's happening. Murphy's Law. Anyway, yeah, so you can see that the rule was created. So it says Sherlock, demo, bits of security, demo bits of security attack at this time. which is my time. And I'm wondering why it hasn't appeared yet, because it should. But yeah, I guess that would be the idea. Let's see, maybe I should touch something. Oh, it does. It did actually. The thing is that for some reason, I needed to open the Slack. But here it is from some moments ago, because here you can see it's well, here it's 17:44, so it actually arrived when it needed to. So well, that would conclude actually the demonstration. And yeah, I will remove the rule, because I would like to be able to order food after this. So let's get rid of this block, and it's working again. So I should be able to access PedidosYa. And yeah, it's working. Okay, so let's get back to the presentation just to finish. But yeah, so this will conclude the demonstration. As I mentioned before, I would love to chat with you if you have any doubts after the Q&A, and you can do it through my Instagram, SantiRos, my email, Santiago@strike.sh, or Santiago.rosenblatt@PedidosYa.com. And if not, connect with me through LinkedIn, which I'm always welcome to reply and to share experiences with people, to learn and as well teach. So well, feel free to reach out, and let's see each other on the Q&A. Thank you very much for coming.